Good morning, team. Monday morning. We're back at it. We are back at it. Hope you had a great weekend. Hopefully it refreshed your eyes, your brain, got off the charts, did things that make you feel good. Really, really important to find that balance in life. All right, so before we get started, go through your checklist. Make sure you are in a good frame of mind to be trading here today. All right, any hangover from the weekend or last week's trading is not going to help you today. So you need to be relaxed and focused on the charts, right? Go through your checklist. Have you had some food? You had a coffee or water? You hydrated? Make sure you've got nothing going on outside of the charts that's going to affect you before you even think about taking a trade. All right. So just want to start off our week like that. Always make sure you go through that checklist. As always, we're going to start off on the daily charts. And here we go. So Friday, we had a big sell. All right. Friday had the opportunity to just do a 2-day pullback, which would have been absolutely perfect to allow us for this rotation higher. All right. That's what we would have liked to have seen. But sellers came in the market. There wasn't a bid to be found. And once we let go of this low and these guys here, there was no RBS level. All right. Resistance did not become support. We sold straight through it and went straight downside. So sellers right now are in control in this market. I don't want to get it too twisted, though. Let's not go into full panic mode yet. All right, let's just think about where most of the action has been taking place this year. Right here, all right? This is like the value acceptance area. No acceptance above, no acceptance below. So we are back into a range. Now, you need to be understanding of that and careful. There is no confirmed trend yet on a daily time frame or on a weekly or anything above that. Just remember that, all right? So from this point here, we are still creating a range. Let's just draw this out. We have this sort of breakdown here, and these have all been absorbed versus this low. Remember, this low got us to this high. We've never broken this low. We had a failed breakout. All right, we did make an all-time high on the ETFs, but not on the futures. And we've traded back into this range. This is the strong low. All right, this right here on the daily is the strong low. It's this low that created this high. So I'm very, very, very aware about that. I do not want to get overly biased in this market from a daily and weekly standpoint. That will change if we can start to create a lower high and a series of lower lows. So if this week we create a bear flag back into this range and we find some sellers, then I can think about, and there was one thing we did talk about last year and the beginning of this year, there is an awful lot of relative equal lows down here. If the market is truly going to go bearish this year, then I expect us to come and clean these guys up. This might take a quarter or so. And then we either think about that rotation up or we stay heavy for a big, big bear market, which, don't want to think too much about that. A long, long way away. So we're thinking about, do we set a lower high somewhere in here for a rotation back down to this Bollinger Band and then maybe clean up some of these wicks? If we don't set that lower high, all right, if this was just a breakdown, trap shorts, reclaim this area, then we're going to have this, all right, for backup later in the week. Most of the liquidity will come later in the week, all right, other than the news that you need to be looking at on your economic calendar. Sorry. You also need to be very, very aware of earnings this week. Nvidia has earnings this week. Everyone will be watching those Nvidia earnings after the bell on Wednesday. It will be important. Not only if the earnings are bullish or bearish, but the reaction to it. How much of it is already priced in? If we have bullish earnings and it's not priced in, and we start ripping Nvidia higher, you best believe the market is likely to start going risk on and chasing that up. So we just have to see what we get. Moving over to the higher time frame charts, right? You can see this hourly here. This will give you an idea of what we're looking at. The lower prices, we can probably put this guy in right here as well. Potential wick to go and aim for if we're going to go lower later in the day. But really what I'd like to see on the hourly is some form of bear flag, all right, in this sort of blue channel or inverse head and shoulders. Now, ideally, we come all the way and test up here. Right, into the previous day low or Thursday low, it would be 950s. Right, if we can get a drive up into that, find sellers with this creation of supply here and start breaking down, right, you're going to have a couple nice trades back down to run this liquidity of the lows. What that will allow is a possible counter trend trade above Globex, all right, if we can get above this anchor VWAP for a move back up. So you get a counter trend long, then we're going to look for a failure and a wash back down. That would be an A+ scenario if we get that. That will be A+ scenario because it will allow us nice plays to the upside, nice risk reward to the downside as well, all right, with some real certain structure. What I don't want to do is trade in this range sideways. I'm not really interested in trading that. If it needs to build that out, and it can build that out, it's going to take some time versus, you know, previous day point of control that we have down here at 687 and the previous day low. We are gapping up, all right? The market is gapping up off this low. We are gapping up into this range. What I don't want to do is get caught in this. I'd rather let it build and then either trade the breakout or fail breakout upside or breakdown or fail breakdown downside, all right? Not going to get chopped up in that range today. Moving into a 5 minute, all right, we can go over that in a bit sort of a minutia detail, let's say. You can see I have this red line. This red line is, oh, what's going on there? Is the anchored VWAP off the high that we put on Friday, all right? Fail breakout. We hugged that the whole way down, all right? We then are now gapping up, right? So you have a gap from Friday close. Move this up a bit. Friday close where we left point of control. Most of the volume was done down here on Friday into the close. Like we were chopped down there for two or 3 hours, and then we gapped up Sunday, drove upside, and we have a little RBS level down here. All right, it is on a lower time frame. This blue box is your RBS level. This resistance, right here, we gapped up above. We traded back to, buyers held it, and we're above it. So this currently is support. If bulls are going to take control in this session, right, and look for a drive up, they will need to hold this level, right? They will need to hold this. If they fail this, then maybe a wash of previous day low, and then either we stay heavy or we trade back inside that range again. It's always the same things. Either we get a continuation or we trade back inside the range again. A breakout above Globex high, this orange level here, right? That's London high right now. A breakout above that and a hold above. Breakout above and a hold above opens the gate for a long back into that anchor. This is the average price of sellers from Friday. If we get through that, then we're going to think about this level where we broke down from. This is a big level here from Friday. And it's not just from Friday. What I want to do is just zoom back. Old support. Let's keep going back. Old support. Old resistance. Old resistance. All right. This is a big level on the book. Sort of 970 down to 925. We can really just call it a 100-point range, right? It can really be like 900 up to 22,000, something like that. So I'm watching to see that move, right? If we get a push above, a soak back in, a bullish structure here, I'm thinking about a long into here and then up into here. Once we get there, I'm risk off because at this point here, somewhere in this area here, I'm assuming that this is going to happen. Something like that for a failure back down to retest this level. And if it starts breaking lows, this will be our lower high on an H1 and a daily. And then once we get a break of structure, this confirms a downtrend, all right, on a daily and an hourly, etc., etc. So lots to play for. This won't all necessarily happen in this one session. I want to make that clear. This might take a few sessions to play out. It can happen in one session. It can also take a few sessions to play out. So those are the things I'm looking at. This play above here for a drive up and a failure. If we're just going to wash straight away this morning down here, all right, if we just go straight down, then I'm either looking for a trade back into the range that we created overnight and Friday's close for a rejection, or if it reclaims it, at this point, we're going to go back into range rotation and we're just going to do this, all right, until something confirms. So fail breakout or confirmation of rejection. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing I just want to think about is a fib. I probably didn't go over this on this H1. All right, from the Friday's high all the way up here at sort of 2250, 22,250, sorry, down to the low. All right, bear flags like to be created into these red lines, the 30%. Ideally, we drive through that, right, then that anchored view up. Ideally, we get 50% or even 618 and then failure. One thing I'm going to say here, if we get acceptance in here, All right, you cannot be thinking about the short if that happens. If this is excess and Friday was just like way over the top, and we start to grind and come into here and just trade sideways in here for a bit and build up, you have to be aware of this squeeze potential. All right, this is where shorts will be trapped. Currently, we're net long since Friday's close. All right, so anyone who took a swing short position into Friday, you might say, why would you do that? Traders seem to do it. All right, they're underwater. So the further we go up, the more covering they get forced to do. If bulls then chase, that's what I'm looking for. Big ifs. There are lots of ifs in this market today because we are still yet to produce that lower high versus a good back test. All right, so you should be clear of what I'm looking for here. You should be clear. Here are all the areas, right? So we've got the higher time frame algo, and we've got the anchored view up, the red line, and then the flow zones. Sort of trading sideways. The blue box is our RBS with previous day point of control beneath. Yellow line right here is PDC, so that would be to close the gap. Green line is previous day low. Orange box here is your Asia London high, and then above that we have these supply levels that I'm interested in back testing. All right, I'm interested in back testing. How are we doing for time here, folks? Got a little bit of time. All right, VIX. What are we doing with VIX? VIX is trading sideways at 17, possibly producing a bull flag here. All right, possibly. So we have to see how we go on the VIX. One thing I want to be talking about is the Mag 7. Apple with news this morning that it's going to produce or invest, I think it was 500 billion, is that right? Something like that, into AI and into a new sort of hub in Houston. All right, so while retail might see that as positive and long term it might be positive, all that really means right now is extra costs put onto Apple, decreasing their net positivity on the books. All right, so they're in a sell this morning. All right, they're in a sell. Rest of the market, not really in a sell. Microsoft tried to gap up, giving it all back, trading sideways, back down to previous day close right now. Oh, it looks like most of the market doing a lot of the same things. We might be starting to sell off early here. Amazon doing the same, gapped up, starting to give it all back already. We are into the same thing over and over. Google doing the same. Meta doing the same, gapped up, giving it all back to previous day low already. Wow. Nvidia looks good. All right, remember Nvidia, people are going to start position trading this week for Nvidia's earnings into Wednesday afternoon. You have to be aware of that. The extra liquidity, extra volatility will come from that this week. Tesla gapped up, giving it all back to previous day close already. All right, so everything gapped up other than Apple, everything giving it back already. So we just have to see, do we put in a base for that drive higher or not? The gap up on SPY is basically 600. The 600 and previous day low key levels on the SPY. Same for QQQ. You're looking at 426 down to 425.50. Those are the key levels on the Qs if they're going to absorb that right now. So lots to play for here. What I'm not interested in doing, I just said it to my team in Discord, I don't want to trade in here. I'm not interested in a trade in here. All right, do not want to trade that range personally. I would rather it traps everyone, even if it takes a whole session to trap everyone. I'd much rather it traps everyone, and then I can think about what's what afterwards. All right, so hopefully you're all prepared. Let's go through the chat very quickly. I've probably got 30, 40 seconds here. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Ryan, Miguel, Mindful Matters, Mr. Slim, Clint, Ramus, Omalabi1, Christy W, Jack, Stephen W, Indicator, DJ Noah, Marek, Michael Pope, Bay Trader, Thumper, Existed, Dopamine, Jesse, BU, TR, Vince, Kevin, Peter Curry, Andrew H, Raul Day with the membership. Thank you very much, my friend. Very kind of you. Minix, Eva, Leron, Rob Drag, Andrew H, Trentry81, Crawford, Cap786, TR, Array, Peter Curry, Myron, Red Don, and Steve C. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So let's see, we got, here comes the open, right? Market now open. Ding, 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 ding. Market open. Let's see what we get. All right, having a quick look at the book. Not much on the book yet this morning. There is a seller up at 900. That's the start of that sort of supply level that I'm interested in if we can trade up there. Having a quick look at the open. All of the Mag 7 opening green so far. Apple just about to go red. Nvidia, the strongest in the market, like we talked about. Traders might start absorbing that and trying to buy up towards earnings. That's up almost 2% already on Nvidia. And just letting this shake out this morning. Not in a rush to take a trade on a Monday morning. Let's see if it wants to close its gap and absorb, or if it's just going to do a breakout of the overnight highs of those Globex levels and continue higher. Most of the news this week will come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Remember, most of the news this week. So I'd love a drive higher this morning. All right, I would love a drive higher. Not even necessarily to get long, but if we can drive higher and set a lower high, it just opens up much better trades later in the week. There's no news scheduled today. Tomorrow we have consumer confidence. Wednesday we have new home sales. Not really anything on the book. But Wednesday night, Nvidia earnings, and then into Thursday. Jobless claims, that will matter. And then PCE on Friday, that will matter. All right, that's what everyone's looking at. So Wednesday evening, Thursday and Friday. Those are going to be the big movers this week. And as you can tell right now, we're like a minute and a bit in and barely moved really. So dips so far this morning being absorbed. We're flat against VWAP. Let's put this line in for the open, which I seem to always forget to do. Where's our open? Is it down here? This bar here. All right, here's our New York open. We're on a 2-minute chart here this morning, folks. Just letting it settle down. So here's the 2-minute open, starting to be absorbed here and drive higher. Remember, we're looking at that Globex high, and then we're going to think about, can we get a trade above that? Are we going to accept price above the Globex high? That's the key thing this morning. Are we going to get price acceptance? God, what's happening to my language? Are we going to get price acceptance above the Globex high for a squeeze back up to supply? That's what we'd love to see. That's what we'd absolutely love to see this morning. And let's see if and what comes on the book. Market looking pretty decent here this morning. Nvidia now 2.5% up. Google 1.6% up. Apple having a rebound off that news. So it's getting absorbed, that news. Up almost 1% already. The morning is very, very young still. Do not need to be in a hurry here this morning. What I don't want to do, like I said, is get caught in this range from overnight. So far up to Globex, failing 800s. Sorting out some of my other screens here. Back to VWAP here. A drive up into Globex and a sell. This is the area where it's going to be choppy in between these levels. Like I said, don't really want to trade between these. I want to trade outside of these, or a fail breakout if it has to. I'd rather not. Or a fail breakdown here would also be nice. If this just sells all day from here, it's not going to be very pretty. We're just going to have to see what is what this morning. Maybe it wants to close its gap. And the previous day point of control, I need to think about that as well. Much, much lower. So Microsoft starting to sell, Amazon starting to sell, Meta starting to sell, Apple giving back 0.5% there already. So just a little bit of repositioning here, I'd call it, at the open. What's the VIX doing? VIX trying to hold. Oh. Everything flat right now. You can see VWAP, New York Open, lower time frame algos, and the flow zones all pretty much flat right now. Nothing here in terms of a setup right now. We're going to have to wait for breakouts and fail breakouts. So Tesla now almost 1% up, Nvidia 2% up, Meta 0.25% up, Google 1.64% up, Apple just about green. So that was a big drive off the open, 1% up and giving most of it back, 0.25% up. Microsoft over 0.5% down and Amazon 0.13% down. So a little bit of a mixed bag here while the market figures out what it wants to do as we're trading inside that overnight range versus sort of the Friday levels. Remember, this is the Friday RBS level, which we've already tested once. It's not a fresh level. We've already come into it once. We know Overnight stops are down here. So let's see. Let's just see what we get. If we get price acceptance sort of underneath previous day close and previous day low, then maybe we get that trend lower. It would not be ideal. It would not be an ideal short location, but if they go risk off, then that's what they're going to do. Much rather a drive higher here this morning first. Would be a much better trade opportunity. So testing the lower side of that sort of H1 trend right now, or coming into it. Lots of volume created into 692s overnight. On Friday, sorry, 690s. Lots of volume down there. Watch your ATR as well today. A bigger day on Friday can increase your ATR. Not even coming down into this yet. So just waiting here to see what we do. Might be that the ETFs want to close their gaps. Remember, we're gapping up. We're underneath pre-market lows right now in the ETFs. And we're truly into the cash gap. So maybe they want to close their gaps, which would take us back down to this yellow line down here, 678, if we're going to close the gap. Not looking for a trade here right now. I will wait patiently. This is near previous day POC. There's a buyer at 650 on the tape. Would that be a gap fill? It would be just under a gap fill towards previous day low. So maybe they come and take out previous day low here. Very possible. And we can think about how we act. When we get down there, do we get a failed breakout below? If they're going to stay heavy, we can get a run into 540s. That was the next level we had all the way down here. I'm just watching here. I don't want to get caught trading between these areas. SPY, it's got a bit further left to go for a full gap fill, another point and a bit. Finding a bounce there off previous day point of control, as you can see, coming right into it. Remember, this is the RBS level we've just traded into here. Good bounce there on ES off that same level. So we've swept London. We just swept London lows there. Just about. Still in the RBS, protecting previous day point of control for now. If it's going to break down, it can think about going to that PDC, closing the gap and previous day low. I'm not taking a short into that. For me, I just don't like the RR when we're trading in an overnight range like this. I'm going to wait. I'd rather be patient today. If it sets up this short and it wants to come down into this, it can do it. And it can do it without me. That's absolutely fine. Move you into a 1 minute here. Good morning, Florida man. So sitting right at that RBS level, right at previous day point of control. Mixed bag on the market. Microsoft in quite a decent sell here this morning. Everything else looks okay. Amazon pretty much flat. Apple just about green. Google 0.82% up. Nvidia 2% up. Tesla 1.2% up. Feels like it wants to try and close this gap here at the moment, though. That's what it feels like it's going to go for. That move on ES will take you down to sort of 28, 29 if it can do it. Plenty of room. It's like over another 10 points if it's going to do it. QQQ have almost done it. They're not too far away. It would take you, if you're trading the ETFs, into 526.08-ish, basically. If it gets through that, then previous day low, very possible. Not much bounce here this morning. I was hoping for a drive higher to look to fade rather than this. This is the least attractive play out of all of them, I would say. Just sat on my hands, letting it do what it wants to do, and then we'll go from there. Once we get to PDC or PDL, you can think about either a range rotation back up or a continuation trade lower if it's really going to break out and stay heavy. That would need to be a day like Friday last week. I find it unlikely for us to do that again, but you never know. And that draw on liquidity, if we're going to do that, will be down towards 580. 21,580 if we're going to do it. So far holding, not closing the gap, and holding very, very well. If we get through that previous day point of control, it should trade down to close that gap into the yellow line. If we get through that, we should take out previous day low. Not much liquidity on the book. I'm going to be honest. Like it's, we're not seeing any big activity down here. Not super on VIX. VIX just coming up to PDC. Still trading in its range. If you look at where we were Friday, you know, it's got a long way to go to get to Friday's highs up at 19. But a little bit of a jump up. We've got like 18 minutes until a new 4-hour and H1 candle. We can think about how that candle might play out once we get candle closure here. Range already good. All right, already over 100 points in the IB. Feels like it should just come and take these guys out. Again, I'm not trading this short down to here, but it feels like it should do this, and then maybe we get this trade or we get this trade. Ideally, we get this trade all the way back up. If we stay heavy here, our RR gets worse and worse and worse. Remember, this is where we were Friday. Right? This is the area that we consolidated in Friday. If we start breaking down and staying heavy under that, we can think about a continuation. If we just take the liquidity and trade upside, we can think about a range rotation. Not ideal, but we can think about range rotation back up to London high, which we left in place. We left that London high in place. The VIX now through previous day close, trying to trade upside towards previous day high. If we do that, again, we should close the gap and take out previous day low here. Microsoft definitely dragging this market down right now. That was, I think I saw a news piece this morning saying that they got downgraded, I'm pretty sure. Fears that maybe the demand for AI and their contract with OpenAI will be sort of downgraded and spent too much, and that they need to cut back the demand there, not as thick as they originally thought. So that might be for the reason for Microsoft. Still no trade yet, still just waiting. I would love that trade back upside, but I really want to see us close the gap now. We've come that far down. We should just like really close the gap. And then after that, I'll think about if we're going to get a range rotation upside move, reclaiming 700s here. It would be slightly odd if we don't go for that gap fill on previous day low first, at least on one of the indexes. It's not done it on either yet. We are holding the RBS level, right? SPY, ES came right into that sort of late afternoon level. I would like to see us trade lower first. I want to see liquidity move from the book first, and then we can think about what's next. This is one thing I didn't want to see this morning. I don't just want, if we don't come and take all this out, if we're just going to do this, this is not what I want to trade. That would be a no trade day for me. Really want to see it clean up this down here and then think about that, or then think about that. I do not want, if we just hold here and trade upside and trade in this, it's just going to be a complete liquidity building phase. And that is not something I will want to trade in. I want to trade either the relief bounce higher or the fade back down afterwards, or even a continuation if it really wants to do it without giving a relief bounce. That seems unlikely, but hey, who knows? The fact that we haven't really filled any of that H1 imbalance, didn't test an anchored VWAP, didn't test any supply. We'll see. Would expect this just to drift lower and clean up previous day close, previous day low here, really. If it's going to be nice. If it's going to be a nice market. Big if. Make sure you're zooming out, though. Understand where we are right now on the charts. This is where we gapped up from. This was the RBS level. Coming back into the RBS level. If you're short here, you are short impossible demand for a cleanup. It's not an ideal situation, which is why I'm not touching it right now. Even if it works out, it's just understanding where you're at. This was a level that they tried to gap up and hold overnight and Friday. So location not ideal for that short back down to clean everything up right now. That's what I'm saying. You're right at point of control and you're right at the start of the RBS. Yeah, VIX still driving, still into 836s now. It's got to get up to 19.03 if it's going to take out previous day high. Back to point of control here again. This might be a little bit too high here. Let me... No, I think that's about right. That is about right. Maybe off on my Ninja Trader slightly. Yeah, it's looking a little bit weaker here. They want to close the gap. That's what the markets want to do. They want to come down and close that gap. It's not an easy trade for a continuation down for that gap close here because we're in demand. If it starts letting go here, we're going to go for gap fill. I'm looking at a very small size here for a short because it's very high risk playing this. If it starts letting go, I'm going to think about that gap fill trade. Tiny, tiny, tiny size here. I really hate these trades, but the low-hanging fruit seems to be that point of control. Watching ES. If ES starts absorbing, I'll take this out. It looks like it's going to go for it now. Here we go. Right, not the easiest trade, but we're looking like we're going to do it. So gap being filled now. Previous day low, the next level, low-hanging fruit. So you can hold on for that. Watching the ES to see if it fills the gap as well. So we filled the gap on the Qs. QQQ and NQ filled the gap. ES has not filled the gap yet. Remember, low-hanging fruit is to previous day low and gap fill. You should be taking a partial here, not adding into it. If we stay heavy underneath, we're going to think for next leg down. If we reclaim inside after stealing liquidity, we're going to think for a trade all the way back up to London high, possibly. Hopefully this is making sense to you. It's not the ideal trade. I almost didn't take it, but I was just like, you know what? This is failing flow zones. We're starting to fail here. Here's gap fill. Here's previous day low. Partials into this. If we stay heavy, I can add back on for a trade down into these levels. Low-hanging fruit has gone, right? PDC is gone. The next low-hanging fruit is 652. You should not be adding short here, all right? You're adding at low of day here into a key level. Feels like a lot of long traders were looking for that squeeze back up this morning that I was talking about, and probably got in a bit early before it confirmed above this level here. So they're causing this wash down. Make sure you're paying yourself here. Don't be holding on or adding on too long. Make sure you're taking some of your size off and then down to runners for a drift lower. The main play here was that gap fill, which we've just done. It happened very, very fast there once we said in small size. Smaller size for me because the risk reward is not great. Coming towards previous day low now. ES getting close for its gap fill, as is the SPY, so I'm watching those. Yeah, good work, Ramus. SPY getting very close now for gap fill. We're getting very close to previous day low. All right, taking some off here. Make sure you're paying yourself, please. This can very, very easily turn back inside right now. If the aim here is just to take liquidity and trap short sellers and turn back inside, it will. That doesn't mean I'm taking a long, but like if we come down here and then we start to reclaim, all right, this is going to be the long trigger back up. Otherwise, we can hold runners looking for those daily levels lower. The next daily wick here is into sort of 578 and then 511s or so. But ES just closed its gap. SPY closed its gap. They haven't taken out previous day low yet like we have on the Qs. Lovely work, team. Lovely work. Glad I took that in the end. Wow, what a melt. What a melt. So 580 next level down on the daily if it's going to go for that liquidity. Just remember, SPY is closing the gap. It's getting close to taking out previous day low as well. Once we do that, have to see how the market wants to trade, as in the broader market. Does it want to find a bounce? Does it do a failed breakout? Or do we just go into a trend day lower? Here is previous day low right here on the ES right now. Hasn't quite taken it. I think tapped it. Literally tapped it. There we go. It's taken it now. There we go. So previous day low now taken on the ES and the SPY. So just be careful if they start to trade this inside. That doesn't mean it's a long. It's definitely not a long. We're in a sell right now. But if it starts to reclaim those levels, then you get a failed breakout underneath and shorts get trapped underneath. So be very, very, very careful here. If it starts to reclaim, those are the areas where shorts get trapped. They start to get trapped underneath previous day close, underneath previous day low. Yeah, great start to the week, team. Great start to the week. We keep drifting lower, then we can keep holding runners. If we start reclaiming those key levels, get rid of this box. If we start reclaiming this, these levels, oh, come on, don't do this to me start of the week. If we start reclaiming this, you have to be very careful about this upside squeeze. Otherwise, we're looking for a trade down into sort of 580s, all right, on a daily. Look at dailies and hourlies. Sorry, higher time frame hourly. These wicks here, all right, 580, and then the start of this 510 if we're really going to go for it. ES starting to trade back inside of previous day low here for now. All right, it's trying to hang around that key level. The ES might want to finish. It had unfinished business on Friday, right? The SPY might want to trade down to 598.22. That's where I felt like it would stop on Friday and didn't quite get there. So it might have unfinished business that it wants to get down another point or so on the SPY. So I guess another 10 points on the ES. So maybe some unfinished business here. What do we say? 580s. I'm watching this wick. 580s and then 500. So getting pretty close here. It goes VIX through previous day high now. VIX really starting to pump higher. So market in a risk-off scenario right now. I mean, this can be the lower high set on the H1. It's a weird way to set it, but it is possible. We are breaking down here on the H1. We're searching for that H1 liquidity. You can see it right now. Searching for this liquidity here and then this liquidity here. Right, these are the next levels if we're going to hold to go lower. Watching ES very carefully. Back to previous day low now. If it doesn't find sellers in here, I'd be very, very cautious on your runners. It seems odd that we haven't just gone a little bit lower on the Qs. You might as well go and take out those H1 levels now. We're all the way down there. We've got 4 minutes until a new H4, H1 bar as well. Hey, Andrew, it's first trade of the week, man. Don't even flip that narrative around in your head and be like, I made some money on my first trade of the week. I've given myself a little cushion and a little buffer on the first trade of the week. That's how you need to flip that narrative around. Plenty more trades left for the week, right? We've got good range. There's plenty more trades to be had. Yeah, I really think ES should come into low 98s here. Low 98s here. The SPY, sorry, starting to break down, looking better. Definitely unfinished business. Once it takes out 98.20-ish, we'll see. We will see. So far, rejecting previous day low. That's a good look on the ES. We've now taken that first little pool of liquidity on the NQ. There's not much liquidity below. I mean, there's no one it's really gunning for and looking for right now. Just under 2 minutes until we get that new H4 bar. Here we go, drifting lower. ES getting very, very close. Another sort of 60 cents or so. Sorry, the SPY, and it would be there. There you go, Trentry. I made my profit today with M and Q. So all you need to do not need big size. When the market's moving like this, you do not need big size. We said, remember the ATR. We're up at 40 points per M1 minute right now. Tuesday the 12th. I've got Wednesday the 12th, do you mean? Wednesday the 12th. That would be a trade into the low 500s. Wednesday the 12th. This H1 level down here. This is Wednesday the 12th. This guy down here. Yeah, no worries. No worries, Stephen. Just making sure we're looking at the same thing. It looks like it's where it wants to go to. SPY getting close now. It needs to go a little bit further. I think at 598.20s there's a ton of liquidity down there on the SPY. Crawford, I lost 1,000 on my take profit trader account early last week, and I'm up 1,500 today. Nice. Well, at least your winners are bigger than your losers, which is what you need. Just remember, new H1 bar here, so we can think about, does an H4 bar, does this need to trade inside? If we expand lower and then start reclaiming key levels, I'm going to be thinking about that. We can go lower and then turn inside. That's going to be the sort of H1, H4 reversal. SPY still hasn't taken it out. I'd like to see this trade lower first. Again, just the lower we can go and clean up all the levels, the better I feel about the next trade. Hasn't really given us an opportunity to add on this short. VIX now trading back towards previous day high. So can it hold previous day high here or not? Here goes SPY. This is better. I want to see SPY trade a little bit lower here. Still not much liquidity on this book. It's amazing. No buys on the tape. No big selling coming in either, you know. There's just not much on the tape. We're just like, I know it's a big move this morning. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're down 260 points now and expanding lower. Here goes SPY. This is the pool of liquidity I'm talking about. This is a big, big level here at the SPY. It's cleaning up all that liquidity now. We're about to take that low. We're very, very close into 11s will be that low. So maybe they overshoot it, snap it, and then we see what's what. God, I wish I had more size on for that breakdown. I wish I had more size on for that breakdown. So thinking about the H1, H4 bar here, especially if we can clean up that low. I got you on the right chart, make sure everything's clean. Especially if we can clean up that low. But if we get a bounce here, I'm thinking about the H1 bar. You got to be very careful versus 60s, I guess. SPY cleaned up that level we talked about. It has cleaned up that level we talked about on the SPY. I see some news between Mexico and Trump just coming out there, hitting the wire. This white dot here is that daily low we were looking at. It's very, very close. Make sure I've got it right. 11s. Yeah, it's very close to taking it. There we go, now taken. I'm fully out of this team. I've got nothing, just nothing left to play now. Hopefully we get some form of bounce, either to look for the reversal long trade inside the H1, H4, or to just look for a continuation short. I don't mind which. So next level it can trade down to would be 415, 415 if it's going to keep going. We're so weak here. So weak here. Look at the VIX, almost at 20s now. There's no bid on the tape. No one around right now. These are big, big levels. All the way around here, sort of 420s and 415s, 460s. These are big daily levels. This is like the midpoint of that range we talked about. We're trading back inside the range we were at right at the start of the year right now. As we were right at the start of the year. Everything's still bearish. M5, M15, everything in a big old sell-off right now. What's the mag doing? Apple's still holding up all right. Tesla's giving everything back. All right, Tesla 3.6% down. That thing's getting clattered. Meta 2.2% down. Nvidia about 1% down. Amazon 1.25% down. Microsoft almost 2% down. So mag getting absolutely clattered this morning. Do we trade into those low 400s here? It's that next hourly wick, 417. What we're looking at the daily, sort of double bottom into, yeah, around the same area, 420-ish. Double bottom around 420-ish. Big pool of liquidity down here. I guess how we act back into 511 and then 567 will be key. No buyers on the tape. No reason to be thinking trying to long this. It's a shame. There's no real bounce to get involved on the short. Just complete sell right now. Fear in the market. Major fear in the market. This was the least, honestly, this was the least attractive trade of the day, which is probably, probably why they did it. VIX getting very close to 20s now. now through 20.02 here on the VIX. We're still drifting lower. Remember, 420 probably the next sort of mark. I want to make sure, keep checking the dailies to make sure I got those right. 415s, 420s. This blue box that we're coming into basically is a big daily level. So would expect at some point some shorts to cover, but if there's no bids on the tape, doesn't necessarily mean there's any buyers. So just it could be shorts to cover rather than genuine buying, a genuine buying opportunity. If we want to go through that lower Bollinger Band today, I mean, it's crazy. We'd go from top bowl to bottom bowl so quick, but we've seen it so many times in this market. It's in a rush to trade lower, isn't it? It is in a rush to trade lower here. Is this the day we go all the way back down to 21K? Yeah, exactly, Stephen. Unbelievable. This says to me a lot of people were looking for that long back up this morning, which is what we were looking for, but the trigger was to hold over the Globex high, which it never did. So I wonder, did a lot of people get caught, you know? You have to wonder. ATR remains big here, guys. Be very, very careful. Your ATR is decent size here. I mean, what a drip lower without no way of really getting involved. 400, there's about 100 lot on the book. Be nice if they actually gave a bounce at some point, wouldn't it? Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do much. We can't do much with this. Here comes a potential little bounce and squeeze up. It's got to go a long way. Looking at the M5. As first reaction off the blue box, we didn't take the daily out. It's like protecting 420 right now. You expect it to go and take that out. So relief bounce here, right off this blue box that we had in the whole time. We probably don't need this now. We can clean this up. Again, they're going to make it hard because they're not taking the daily level out. 200 EMA on the daily, is it really? Well, they're not taking the daily level out. You would want them to take out 420 first for like a really, really, really good way of moving higher. Some big volume coming in there, though. What was the H1 transition? Sorry. This is the old wick 411. Transition is 469. 469. It's still holding versus flow zones right now. No reason to think long. Ideally, if we're going to get long, we would need a cleanup of this and then this. I don't really want to get long until we clean this up down here and then pivot. Definitely don't want to get short down here. Short up here is probably better. Bottom of the daily. I don't have us quite at the bottom of the daily on the NQ. I have it a bit further. Yeah, quite a lot further. Maybe on another chart. What chart are you looking at, Steve C? Maybe on a different, maybe not on the NQ, maybe a QQQ or something, or SPY. Decent bounce off these lows here. 100 points already. That's happened very quick, isn't it? 1, 2, 3 minutes. 3 minutes, ripped 100 points. That's the market we're in right now. You do not need a lot of size. So ES coming back towards its previous day low. That's what ES wants to check out. It wants to go and back test previous day low. NQ, QQQ, very, very weak. All right, we're still in downtrend here. All right, we're still in a downtrend, but we did absorb off that blue box, but we didn't take out the liquidity. We didn't take out the liquidity, which is a bit annoying. It's like 1, 2, 3 times down there, if you want to see what I'm talking about. 1, oh, let me draw, please. 1, 2, 3. We'd like this, really, if we're really going to think about a rotation. You want to clean these guys up, not just come right down to them. Still thinking about a short now in here somewhere. And then that would be off the table if we get acceptance up here. They're making this incredibly hard to get involved in today on NQ. Wow, look at that book into 21,500. There is a 2,000 lot there. 2,000 lot there just came on the book. I want to see if they get filled. That is what you call a wall. So there's 1,000 lot at 12 or so and a 1,000 lot just beneath that. Wow. Do they stay on the book here? I'd love them to slam this down to see if there's an actual genuine order there or if that's some spoofing. Shorts definitely covering in front of that. They're panicking out now. Are we going to go all the way back to previous day low here? ES looks like it wants to get back there. JD Florida man. So repricing and then one imbalance here. If it V-shapes, it's going to be really hard. I really don't want a V-shape because then we haven't cleared up and we haven't back tested. So if this V-shape is going to be really hard, it's going to be nasty. Going to be patient here. Hopefully it comes back inside. We're at that transition point for the H1 like we talked about. So we're going to trade back inside the last H1 candle. So all the way back to 50s is possible here, but it's no real entry model. Remember, we're just going straight up now. It's not like it swept and turned and put in a higher low. There's nothing happening here than a straight squeeze up. And those 1,000 lots are scaring everyone to make them do it right now. That's what's happening. They're still there at 12 and 500. It just feels like V-shape up here. ES coming back to previous day low like we talked about. NQ not there yet. If we can start to hold here, we can think about this trade. But if it goes straight up, it's just going to go without us and take it away from us. It's going to be really hard. Big range. 365 point range. We've got 14 minutes left until the initial balance is set. ES coming back to check its previous day low here. If it finds sellers here, you get continuation. If it trades back inside, then the breakout shorts who came in outside of previous day low and have not taken their cover positions will get trapped. So they're moving up. This guy is genuine. He's moving his order up, chasing the market, trying to get filled here. So I don't know if he's a short trying to cover who missed his cover or if he's an actual buyer on the tape. But he's splitting his order and he's chasing the market up. He's now at around 37s. If he pulls his order and we flush, then we know he's just a spoofer trying to encourage buyers to get involved. So let's see. Previous day low was just checked there. We had some selling into it on the ES and the SPY. Let's see if this guy's real. Can we trade down far enough to test him out in towards 37? That's the question. Is he going to stay on the book? Can we produce a lower high here, lower time frame? Remember, we didn't clear out the daily liquidity. I do not like that. We came straight up to this H1 transition. If you look at the last H1 bar, this is where we traded into. Big levels here. So we'll need to produce a higher low here for us to even consider getting long. There's absolutely no other reason to. We're in a strong sell. Coming back towards 37s. We know he's at 37 and at 12s right now. We hold sort of this area here. There is a rotation for here. Remember, ES is already up here. Let's see if this guy's real then. What you got, mate? Are you genuine? Partial filled. No, he moved down. Look at that. Moved the rest of his order straight down to 12. I don't like this guy. I think this is a bit of spoofing on the tape. I don't even know if he's at 12 or 500 right now. He says he's there, but I'm not convinced. We're about to find out. Pulled one order and then put it straight back on. I think this guy's spoofing. I think this guy's spoofing, trying to drag the market around. Yeah, exactly, Vince. I mean, these are the levels it needs to hold into around here. It's what we were just talking about. If it holds this, if it holds a pullback here, somewhere around here, it has the chance to do this rotation here. This is counter trend still, remember. We're definitely in a strong sell. Your hourly is in a strong sell right now. I got a feeling this guy's toying with the book. I think this is a naughty hedge fund manager who's got no interest in actually filling these orders. Remember this H1, if we reclaim, go inside that last bar, can squeeze way up towards 700. Right, that can still just be setting a lower high up there on the H1. So far, every pump high has been sold into. We had those two big bids on the tape, but they have been moving around. I'm not sure they are genuine. I think they might be spoofing. NQ relative weakness versus the ES. ES rejected previous day low. If it starts reclaiming a previous day low, maybe some relief. What we have got, though, is the VIX broke out towards 20, traded all the way back down. We're now trading underneath 19s, underneath previous day high. So if that's a failed breakout and it trades back inside the range, might get a little bit more relief on the market. If it can hold this range and trade upside, then market stays weak. Strength in the YM. Yeah, YM 0.25% up. Yeah, very true, Florida man. Very true. Longs, too early for longs yet, I would say. It's trying to set up, but there's no confirmation yet. There's no higher low. Remember, we didn't sweep the daily liquidity. We left a lot of daily liquidity down here, which I don't like. It's not like we've done this yet. It's possible if they protect it, but if they start letting go of these areas, we're going to trade down into this and clean it up. If they can protect it and start doing this, then there's a trade up into here potentially. Where's the 930? Yeah. Right, that's your anchor VWAP of 930. Let's do that as a dark green. You guys see that on the screen? Hopefully you can see that. That's your 930 anchor VWAP. 7 minutes left until that initial balance as well. 99 watching, only 39 have liked. Oh, that's terrible. Come on, team. Come on, team. Still saying staying heavy right now. Can bear flag here and drift all the way back down to those lows. Remember, there's daily lows to be cleaned up. Not trading it, but it's possible. It can also get squeeze relief on the H1. Again, it hasn't set a higher low with a higher high yet. It's trying to do it, but it hasn't done it. It's trying to do it here, but it hasn't done it yet. This will be the play for upside. This will be the play for a downside retest. It is messy right now. VIX, though, starting to trade downside. Potential relief. They've just got to let it through here if they're going to do it. It's key level. I don't mind joining if it's very clear, but these are high-risk days when they can do very big moves very quickly. Guys are still on the book. Said no trade here yet. Think about that long if it confirms, but it's a counter trend long. Those are the hardest longs, and the fact that we've left those daily wicks is absolutely gross. Did we take them on the NQ? On the yes 7th. We've cleaned a lot up, in fairness, on the ES. Nothing bullish yet, remember. It was a squeeze higher, still in downtrend. Your M5, your M15 is very, very heavy still. And there's no higher low set yet. They tried to set it here. There's no confirmation. Why is there no confirmation? Because there's no break of structure to the upside. All right, so this can still just trade down to here very, very easily. That's why I'm not in longs yet. I'm just waiting. See if these collectors get filled here. So we trade back down towards 12s and 500 flats. They're going to see if they get filled, if they're genuine buyers or not in this market. I can't even do the maths on how many millions that is worth in these contracts. Starting to absorb into those levels. It looks like they're genuine here. It's covering in front of them. They're still there on the book. They haven't moved. So I mean, I'm going to assume they're genuine. They're not pulling their orders. Still there on the book. They're both still there on the book. They are genuine orders here. One just pulled or filled? Must have pulled. No, filled. I can see him on the book filled. 989 lot there, filled. So let's see if 500 fills now. You can see it on the session volume profile. It flicked over. So these are genuine orders. So 1,000 left at 500. These are buyers. They're buyers on the tape. If we get through this guy, then you've got to think we go and clean up down here. We go and clean up those daily levels if we get through. Here we go, tapping into him. Let's see if he's there. 1,022 lot, 24 lot, 25 lot. Other guys coming in and around him. So initial balance now set. We can think about initial balance rules, breakouts, auctions, failed auctions of the initial balance. We can think about all of those. Market just doesn't have the strength to get through this 1,000 lot on the tape yet. So is this a 2 try and they're going to absorb? This is the question now. Can they hold 500? Coming back to try him again. Remember, the market is heavy. We're in a sell. There's no confirmation of a long yet. But if they can hold, this becomes possible. there is levels, daily levels down here to clean up. He's on the tape at 500. They still haven't filled him yet. Remember, we're still in bearish order flow. Everything is bearish still. VIX now back above previous day high. Market very, very heavy so far this morning. Apple the strongest in the mag. This is possible versus this. If they rotate this, it's still very, very bearish. Very, very bearish still. Every M5, M15 looks very bearish. Just want to see us take out 500 and then see what's what. Because at that point, you know, the market makers will have taken the liquidity off the tape, and then we're going to get a move either back down to initial balance low and start trading for those daily levels, or protecting them. One of the hard things right now is the range in the market is massive, so you got to be accurate and size down. Still not filled here. Still there at 500 looking to get. They've got to fill him. No way they don't fill him here. So close. But everything's still bearish. Blow zone's bearish. We're under VWAP. We're under anchor VWAP. We're underneath previous day low. Everything remains bearish. He's come off the tape. Did he get filled there? He didn't even get filled. He came off the tape. So the top order he had got filled. The bottom order he didn't get filled. He took it off. So there's nothing supporting this bid now. Now he's come back on lower. Yeah, this guy's a prick. He's come back on at 487 now with a 1,200 lot. Makes me think they want to drag this down if he's going to do that. Are they going to go for the daily lows here and drag it down? Looks like it. Feels like it. Where was he? 87s. Yeah, he keeps repricing. That's right. BU, make sure you're plugged in if you can. Rather than Wi-Fi, that make a big difference. You might already be, but if you're not plugged in, that can make a big difference. Run the Ethernet. So remember, we've got unfinished business on the daily down here. We can think about auction under this, and we can think about failed auction versus this, the IB low. If we can clean this up and trade inside, that's going to offer a very nice trade RR-wise. We are staying heavy here. Yeah, he did. He got filled. Can see it. So he was genuine order. He got filled. Order flow still very, very bearish here. No reason to pick a bottom yet. Or ever. But what I meant is no reason to be a buyer in this market. Not right now. Trying to protect this down here in this little imbalance. Really want to see it just clean everything up. It's going to be very hard for me to take another trade if it's not going to clean up levels. Yep, retesting the low here. So if we hold here or we do this, this becomes bullish. If we stay under here, this becomes bearish. Those are the plays right now. This is retesting this. If shorts get trapped down here and it doesn't clean up this low, or if they get trapped under here and it turns inside, that's where they get trapped. If we stay heavy, then we get a continuation leg down. Remember, we said the market is staying heavy. No reason to get long yet. Everything has been a sell into flow zones this morning. There is unfinished business on the daily down here. There's lots of liquidity on the daily down here. Cannot think about the longs until we clean stuff up and the flow zones start to provide a rotation. VIX just basing out here above previous day high. Reclaiming 500s here. Books thinned out again. Remember, there's no real news today. Watch your ATR as well, team. Just watch your ATR if you're still in this trade or you're looking for a trade. The book is thinned right out here. It's really, really thinned out. There's a buy down at 450 now. Back to 500s. It's very, very tricky down here. We're so low. To think about a short continuation is becoming very, very hard for me to even think about. Let's say that buy was 450s in front of the lows. I'd like us to trade lower. If we're going to actually go down there, we should go and clean up the dailies if we're really going to do it. Man, this is just fucking crap. This is like last week. It does this big move and then we just move sideways for ages and ages and ages while it has to retrap. It's annoying because that sell this morning, other than the position we took, I mean, this is the issue with the market. It's just straight down, extended from flow zones. There's no back test. At least ES gave a back test of this to get short into. Like Q's is just... I said, I feel like it's going to come and clean stuff up, but there's nothing to risk off really as we drip down. This is really risky thinking about a short down here. Oh. All right, so we've got some buyers on the tape here around the 450s. Let's see what it does when it gets down there. I really think we should just go further down at this point and clean up some of the dailies before we think about any upside, but let's see. And I guess ES 6000 is kind of key level in front of the IB low. If that was an overshoot earlier. Market's still in a sell, though. Everything's still in a sell. Market's still very, very heavy. No relief. No relief across the board. Tesla 2.67% down. Nvidia 1.75% down. Meta 2.3% down. Amazon 1.4% down. Microsoft 1.7% down. Google 1/3% up. And Apple about 1/4% up. How long we got? 15 minutes or 40 minutes to a new hour. We're going to run those lows now. 400 just came on the book here as well. Yeah, ES today, much nicer trader. That back test of previous day low gave a very nice short entry on the ES compared to NQ. Still think we're going to take out new lows here. We've got to clean up the dailies. If we're going to go this low, we might as well go and clean it all up. We keep talking about those levels into 425-ish. We got very, very close, but we left it, all right? Into here, there's tons of daily liquidity here. We might as well take this out and then either back test, stay heavy, back test, turn around, go upside. I don't mind which, but I cannot pull a trigger long, really. I don't, until we take out the external liquidity. At that point there, I'm more interested in potential relief because it's running out of things to aim for. Unless it's going to get really heavy and go all the way down to 21K today. Yeah, we're getting close. Here it goes then. It continues to go lower. Oh, it's... I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it. Would have loved that drive higher to get this short. Crawford, are you in the room? Are you in Discord? Sorry, remind me. I think you are. Have you done the course? If you've done the course, go in the NT tab in the Discord. It should be there. If not, I'll upload it for you. Okay. Then you'll just have to look one up. Look one up for clouds or whatever, but everything else is in our Discord. You can probably find it on what's it called? The Ninja Trader ecosystem. So NQ trying to hold versus IBL. It should really come and clean up those daily levels. It's got this far down. Obviously, it's not a good short location. Momentum's been good, but location is not very good down here. We're starting to protect the IBL here, but we haven't come down far enough. ES is looking a little bit better, but still trapped. Now, our buyer's on the tape down at 400. Yeah, on SPY we are, yeah. We've got some room to go on the Qs, really. 410s for an old POC from sort of Monday the 3rd. Starting to find a tiny little bit of relief here versus IBL and low of day. Watching the volume. Volume's still low here. As we drift higher, volume's still low. So this can still be sold into. The question is, if it wants to trade all the way up to the top of this range and then sell, it can. It can create a range here, which is why I'm a bit like, this is a bit annoying that this is the trade that they've chosen for the day. I want to see this trade lower, take the liquidity out, and then think about what's next. Man, I wish I had more size on at the beginning of the day. Feels like they're trying to get some relief here. Volume. They tried to sell harder on that last one. Hasn't had a breakdown yet, though. Might get some relief here soon. Back to the top side of the more recent range. Have to be very careful if shorts get trapped near the lows. Really, I would like to see us come and take all this out before I think about anything else. Go on, just go and clean it all up. I want to see this drive down to low 400s, 411, 410, clean everything up. We can think about what's what afterwards. Here we go. Finally doing it. Market in a faff today. I think it's kind of at 415-ish. Come on, market. Yeah, Jack, they've been working. Like, momentum's good. The location's not been ideal for the short. I mean, I guess the best one probably was this here, because you had like set risk at that point. But I mean, it's I don't want to be short down here, even though my bias is to come down here. I don't want to be short down there too low. Remember, the first short we had today was it here? Here. Another big sell day today. Yeah, maybe Ramos, but I wouldn't want to front run that, you know? Still has not cleaned up those daily and hourly wicks underneath it. You'd want to see it clean that up before thinking about anything else. Again, I really not looking at any of the support levels or anything like that until it cleans up liquidity. Again, it needs to clean up liquidity for me to even think about anything else. If you are bidding on this, you are asking to get hurt right now. There's nothing in this saying it's a buy. Nothing in terms of structure. We are in a strong sell day, a multi-time frame trend with higher time frame liquidity underneath asking to get taken. I'm not interested in being a buyer in this market until we take out liquidity, and then, and only then, if it proves to me it wants to turn around and go higher with short stuck, I will think about it. But right now, I'm more frustrated that I'm not short from higher up in the day and holding positions. It's not thinking about a long until it cleans out daily liquidity and then turns and shows me something. Until that point, you cannot just be bidding in this because you think it's cheap. All right, it can keep flushing down. That's why it moves lower when that happens. Very close to our IBL here. ES coming back towards it. No worries, Lee Kim. Yeah, I'm not going to be a buyer in this market. That will change if we can clear out liquidity, or I can clearly see that sellers are stuck near lows, shorts are stuck near lows. I don't mind joining for a squeeze up, but what I'm not going to do is guess the bottom. All right, everything here is telling you, hey, multi-time frame trend bearish, all pops into flow zones are being sold into. Imagine being a buyer here or here or here or here or here or here. You're underwater. All right. Imagine those 1,000 lots were here. All right, unless they were covering. If they're shorts covering, they're covered in the money. But if they're genuine buyers, they're out the money. All right, the liquidity pool is here on the daily. Snap this, then if we reclaim, I'll think about it. Yes, JD, definitely. I like micros. When the ATR is big, I don't mind trading micros at all. Or if I'm trading a 50K account, I trade micros. Don't need minis on 50K accounts. No reason to be trading minis on 50K accounts. Ugh. Remember, it's only Monday morning, folks. Plenty of time left. I'm just going to get a little refill on the coffee, and I'll be right back. All right. So still trying to protect it. Still don't trust this yet. Watching the volume here. It's just a dry back up to flow zones, back up to where sellers last were. Nothing yet to think about long. Ryan, why don't I trade minis in 50K account? Because I just think with the size of the stop that you need, it's very, very easy to get hurt, and you'll never be able to have a runner. If you place 2 minis in a 50K account, you're looking at $400 every 10 points. You probably need 30 points risk. That's $1,200. That's half your drawdown gone already in one trade. Still much rather this cleaned up the lows first. It's just... Oh, NQ, you really going to do this and not clean them up on the daily? Really, NQ? We're leaving all that external liquidity there. Great. There's your test of 500 coming. Whole number. Maintain. I want to see this clean up liquidity. I really do. There is volume starting to step into this here, so this candle is important. The next pullback holds, and maybe it gets a relief back to the top of this range. I would really like to see this clean up liquidity down here. If NQ doesn't do that, it's going to be so hard to think about any sort of mean reversion higher. Ugh. Starting to hold that last downtrend now. Maybe now they are really going to go for it. Small size on just in case. Tiny, tiny size. Stop already in the money. I do not trust this. It has not taken out the external liquidity yet. I really don't like this, but I don't mind on that pullback. I'm small size on. Stops already in the money. I don't care what it does. If it goes, then I've got a tiny, tiny piece on. But I really, really want to see this clean out. I would like this to actually fail on me, take me out break even. Come and take this out. Please come and take this out. It makes it a much better trade afterwards. Zake Vim, you get them when you do the course for free. All right, it's one-time fee, 20-hour course. You get the Discord and the flow zone indicators completely for free when you do the course. So just for my students. Book starting to clear out here. Still a buyer at 400, all right? That's the biggest order on the book down below. We're back to sort of average price of those buyers who came in the market earlier. All right, so one got filled around 92s and one got filled around 12s or 10s. The average price is probably about 500 exact. So that big buy earlier, this is basically his average price at that 500. Yeah, they have. It's all year, really. Even the back end of last year, leaving those daily levels. No worries, Jeff. Nice work. Nice work. New hourly bar here as well, folks. Take care, Peter. Yeah, nice short this morning. Well done. Nice base hit into pre-DC, PDL. Trying to set a higher low here and go. We'll see. We'll see. I still don't like it, but whatever. Yeah, potential, Ryan. I don't love it because it hasn't taken out the external liquidity, but it's potentially. It's just not A plus. It would have been A plus if we did this. Yeah, if we took these guys out down here on the dailies, that would have been A plus. The fact that we've left this down here, these are dailies and this level, it's just... Thank you. Remember, any long you take today is a counter trend long. Just remember that. Yeah, your 5 minute, 15 minutes, still very, very, very bearish. Still bearish. Maybe going to the top of this hourly range here is possible. See some Ukraine news hit the wire. What was that? That was from White House. Here goes the squeeze. Still in this tiny size. I'm not going to add to it because I do not like it. But if it wants to come and test this hourly range, it can. Trading up to sort of value area low hit. Maybe it can trade into 557, 566 through that 585. Through that, and go previous day low and VWAP if it really wants to firm up. Low zones will flip if it hangs around here long enough. Again, we're really starting to get sort of boxed in down here. That's what I want to be careful of. But it does feel like it's starting to set a bit of a squeezer. Remember, we sold off heavy this morning. If ES starts reclaiming previous day low and previous day close, which is where VWAP is, it can really trigger something a bit bigger. But let's see. At least half of you still not click that like button. Come on, folks. I know it's been a slower day, but we caught the short this morning. We're just waiting to see now. I'm still in this long. I don't like it, which is why I haven't got much size on, because we haven't cleaned up the lows. I'd much rather this kind of fails, which it might be willing to do soon. And takes out the lows, and then we can think about a better long. This is starting to give me sort of Friday vibes. Where we hung around for a while. Created a range. All right. Difference was on Friday, we used that to drip down lower. It's possible today we do the opposite. We use it to back test high. It will still be bearish. It will be a counter trend back test to get back up to some key levels. All right. So far protecting the IBL. This here sort of boxed in. If we can get back up to here and even up here, it would be great. Back test some of these levels. If we get through that, we can back test better hourly pivots. Remember that H1 can back test way, way, way higher if and when it's ready. Think about that H1. All we've done this morning. Snap down, extension, trading inside this, reclaim this. We can come and test some of this. That'd be the counter trend. And then I'd be looking, once we get up here, for a short. Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Another 1K. Oh, yeah, same guy. That's exactly the same guy at the same size. That's his average price as well. Actually, that's not his average price. That was the top level we got filled at. Good eyes, Miguel. Good eyes seeing that. And then you got like 100 lots above trying to get filled into 550s. I actually don't like him being on the tape. I actually think they're using them to like manipulate price a little bit too much today. How do I know it's the same guy? It's exactly the same level he got filled at earlier with exactly the same size. So I don't 100% know, but like there's not many people putting 1,000 lots on the tape at the same levels over and over. So that's an institutional buyer. I'm not going to do the maths on that, but the margin and leverage requirement, that will now be over 3,000. Well, let's have a look. 2,200. That's over 3,200 lots of liquidity added at the same place. No, he's not filled. He's still just sitting there. That is some insane size. You're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars right now. All right, you never see 1,000 lots on the tape. Never. Like this is huge size. You're normally talking like a big lot on the tape is 50 to 100. Sometimes you'll see 200 lots. 1,000 lot on the tape. We're now talking 3,200 lots from one guy delivered in a day. That is insanity. We're talking massive, massive size. That's an institution. That is a big bank being told, hey, you need to buy or cover your position on NQ today with an average price of 21,500, and I want you to buy back or cover all of your position. It might be 3,500 lots over the day, for example. The market's trying to move into a lower time frame squeeze here, but it's again, we haven't cleared out that liquidity underneath us, which is very, very ugly. And we're now in the middle of this sort of lower time frame range, but it does feel like it's trying to force a bit of a squeeze up. Still in this, trying to see if it will really get going here. Every push is failing into the deep pullback flow zones. Remember, these haven't crossed yet. We get a better trade when this crosses and maybe the anchor, and then we can trade upside. Remember, this trade from here to here is very common. No one's saying it's where he needs price to move to. We're just saying the amount that he's getting filled on. Right? So we're talking about the amount he's getting filled. He's getting filled 3,000 lot. That's a fact at that price. That's a fact. Doesn't matter whether it's a hedge or not. That is a fact. That's what's happening. Doesn't matter if it's a hedge. It doesn't matter what's looking to happen. There's no way he's getting filled 3,000 lots unless he's been given a strict order of like, you need to fill at this price. This is your average price we're looking for you to get for the day. That's exactly how it works in institutions. They're literally told, and you will get a bonus if you can fill more beneath that price, for example. So lots of traders will get like bonuses if they can fill for their customers under the price that they want, say, for if they're a buyer. But comrade, that's fine. But we're talking about what we're seeing on the tape right now. I don't care about the option. I only care about where he's filling now. And all I'm saying is that as an institution buying, it's very, very rare that you see 1,000 lot. I think that's probably the second time in 4 or 5 years I've seen 1,000 lot on the tape on NQ. That's all I'm saying. It is not common to see that on the tape. That is someone showing their hand. This market has gone to sleep without taking the liquidity. It's just doing nothing now. Maybe we can squeeze higher. I don't know, but it's, without stealing the liquidity, I really don't love it at all. Maybe we can get that turn back into here. Remember, ES is already, this drive on ES here came and tested this. We got a sell from that back down towards the IBL, and now we're trading sideways here. Would like to see this area here back tested on the Qs today. I would much rather we did it after taking out the daily lows. Fed bid for 3-month bill just came out. are we going to go? Come on then. If we're going to go, go. Stop the faffing, man. Back to the top side of this range. The question is, up here, do sellers come back in and try and do this? This is our range. This is the box that we're in. Acceptance over this, we can go for here. VIX now coming back towards PDC. So well under PDH now. This liquidity being built is not nice for buyers. Video, good comeback here. Yeah, a little bit tricky. It's just the fact that it's not taking liquidity just makes it really, really, really hard to pull the trigger. And then it does these drifts. I got in here, but like this is just drifting. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes and cleans everything up. You know, I just don't have confidence in this play with how it's moving without coming cleaning everything up. But let's see. We just have to see what we get. If it wants to keep going, it's fine. It's just I'd rather it gives some like cleaner, nicer setups. A bit more genuine covering there. Short starting to get a little bit scared here, I'd say. What was the sell signal today? Yeah, if I was a short, I'd be getting out now. Starting to reclaim VWAP. So coming back up to the 930 VWAP that we talked about. ES again coming back towards previous day low. So ES is already repriced all the way up here. So I'm seeing ES is a nicer trader today. NQ is not as nice to trade. So this is the 930 VWAP. This is average price of all participants in the market since 930. So sellers are in control. This is basically average price of the sell. Again, we built, remember I just said we built trendline liquidity. It's not very nice. If I'm a buyer, I don't like to see that. I like to see liquidity be built this way for these moves. Back up to the top side of this range right now. SPY, not quite to VWAP, not far away. QQQ, pretty close as well. A big difference right now is where PDL is in these indexes. Trading towards the top side of this range that we've been in pretty much since 10 o'clock, or even before, yeah, since 10. So we spent an hour and 20 minutes in this range now. It's decent size, don't get me wrong, it's decent size. Yeah, everyone, this is what I mean. I don't like it because I know they're just messing about today. I like easy action when we clear levels, when we give nice, clean indications of where we want to go, when there's nice low-hanging fruits still to go for. So we had low-hanging fruits trades already today, which were 2 here. We've left somewhat of a low-hanging fruit trade down here. The A+ trade would have been a drive higher this morning before doing this move, which we didn't get. The back test now level would be back up here. So if we can reclaim this, this would be a back test level on the daily. But the ES has already done it. Right, so there's divergence in the market. That's one of the tricky things right now. If you're buying this right now, you're buying the top side of the range for the last hour and 20 minutes. And you're trading back up to the top side of the hourly bar already of the previous hour. If we trade through this and this, we can reprice into here potentially, into this old point of control around here. This is a possible trade. We haven't got long left till lunch either. No worries, Crawford. That's really good work. Call it a day there, because that's what's that? Considerably more than your loser. I think double your loser, you said. So that's good work. Just call it a day. You can come back next time. Come back tomorrow, trade again, do the same thing, rinse and repeat. Still going here. It is still going here. Still squeezing. Back testing that previous day low, coming up on the ES. That's what it's looking to do on the ES for sure. Can the Qs do the same thing? It's a long way to go for the Qs to do that move. Another 100 points. Whereas for the ES, it needs to move another 2 points or so. Yes, I'm well aware of that, comrade, which is why I said I would have much preferred if this swept, and it's not this low, it's a daily low down there. And I'm well aware that that's not enough volume, but it doesn't mean it can't come back for it later in the day if it wants. And all I'm saying with my setup and how I trade, I want that taken out first for it to be A+. All right, you are welcome to do whatever you want. I'm still in this long. Right, I told you I'm in this long. I'm just not in it with size. I'm still in this long and just trailing it up. But I'm not in it with size because it's not giving me A+. I'm up considerable amount of money right now. And the next zone I'm going to look to take out is the 85. Once we squeeze through 85, and I'm only in like a tiny amount of size, so I can't even take partials here. I'm just trailing and trailing and trailing and trading. This is the liquidity we're going for. Top side of the range. Right, if we get through that and we have acceptance above, we're now above New York view up, we're going to attack these. This will be the range rotation from IBL into these. Like I said, I'm small size because it's not A+ for me, but I took the long here. I told everyone I'm taking the long here, and much rather it would take me out and then do it, but it didn't, so I'm still in it, dragging the market up, moving my stop with it. Tiny, tiny size. I can't do, like, I have to stick to my rules. This is what's hard with chat. When chat's doing this, it makes me get pissed off because I'm like, start second guessing myself. But my rules are no big size unless we sweep and then turn. So small size because it's not A+, and I'm sticking to it. So it's not a dig at anyone, but it's pretty hard when you're trading and people, you know, want to talk constantly in chat. It can get in your head a little bit. It's much easier to trade without education, trust me. Right, these are the targets. PDL. ES already through PDL and PDC. It's already there. We're approaching VWAP here. I'm trailing very, very tight now. And this can fail at any time it wants. There's 1,000 lot on the tape trying to sell up here at 612. All right. So he's trying to get out in front of his VWAP right now. Any close under probably 90 here, and I'll just take it off. I can always re-add in. It's a big squeeze up. Right? Big profit. Almost 100 points here from here to here. Watching ES here. Remember, ES is traded through PDC, PDL. Right? If it comes back inside and holds these levels and holds VWAP, like we said, shorts who are swing traders or playing daily timeframes would have taken shorts versus previous day low. All right, they will be out the money as we start to squeeze because it's a failed breakout on the ES. Look at what I'm talking about on the ES. This is a better short trade down to here. These shorts are now in trouble. This is a daily level. We're reclaiming daily levels. If we hold this, a bigger short squeeze becomes possible on the ES. It becomes possible on the NQ, but we're not at these levels yet. Remember, these levels are all the way up here. All the way up here. We need to get through this for a bigger short squeeze on the ES. This blue line is a big H1 level. Oh, it's gone to the wrong thing. NQH. Yeah, tagged me out there, so traded it all the way up. I couldn't do much more than that. All right, let's see. Again, that seller at 21,612, 1,000 lot there. It's trying to squeeze up to VWAP, all right, and then all the way up to PDC, PDL. That's what it wants to do. That is the back test region it wants to go for. ES is looking to back test probably that old RBS level, all right, but we can move it a bit higher. Probably 40s right now on the ES is where it wants to go. Thanks, Array. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, so if we keep absorbing here, shorts are going to get stuck in the hole, especially on ES versus PDC, PDL. All right, if ES wants to go and back test that level, is going to have to go back towards 40s. How we at there becomes important. VIX melting back down towards its IBL right now, which is what you want to see. How it acts when it gets there is going to be key. I'd say VIX into 1778 will be key. Did leave some highs up here. If we start reclaiming, this can really get going. How long till lunch? 30 minutes. But this was a squeeze out here. There's no structure in here. This is a big squeeze out. You want pullbacks to hold the top side of this range for a continuation higher right now. Repricing that H1 bar, just like we talked about. All right, once we trade inside this, there's a chance to reprice into here, here and here and here if it really, really gets going. All right, and then up here, it will produce a lower high. If it fails to produce the lower high, then you can think about this liquidity being used to go higher. Same thing every single day. I want to see pullbacks come in and hold inside this range here. Here's your anchor off the low. Here's New York VWAP. Something in here will be nice if it holds. Failure inside this, we go back and dance in this range. Let me think about fib here as well. Where's the New York open? Current high. Yeah. Nice Calypso. Good work. Good work. And we get a pullback that holds here. Some of that 1,000 lot filled. 950 left on the ask there. Looking to reprice some of these candles where we've squeezed up and see if we can put in bullish structure on potential RBS levels, potential areas of interest for buyers to hold. Ideally, the ES maintains a bid above VWAP or around VWAP, PDC, PDL. Do not want to see failure back inside the range. Failure back inside the range will mean I will not be looking for longs. Divergence in the market when we come to where we are positioned right now. We have still not back tested previous day low, previous day close on the NQ. We have sufficiently back tested and got through it on the ES with plenty of closes through it. I would say that move back to 25 or 24.50 on the ES, how we operate around 28 and 24, 25 will be key. Wick to wick so far. Prefer a move down here personally. Remember, squeeze up, not much structure. Here we go, a bit deeper here. Not for me. Not a VWAP rejection for me. We're above the New York VWAP, and we're not into the 24-hour VWAP. And ES is above the VWAP. SPY is above the VWAP. QQQ is above the VWAP. So I don't see that as a VWAP rejection for me. Have to see if it sets up a bullish structure here to think about buying or not, right? Just same thing over and over again. This was a squeeze out to get up here, remember. I already told you I'm out of my long. I said it already. You guys need to trade what you want. Like, you're asking me hold longs or not. I don't know where you got in. I don't know what your target is. I don't know your position size. Yeah, absolutely. Look, NQ's down 0.5% today. ES is almost flat. Definite relative weakness in the Qs. Tech heavy today. Definite relative weakness. Back to PDL here on the ES. All right, these are the levels that I was saying. Back to anchor VWAP. Again, if we start trading inside the range, we're just going to chop down here. We're going to go back into this range down here. If we cannot hold bids above this and we get into here, we start doing this down here again. We're running out of time now into lunch as well. Remember, we did a small reprice into that H1 as well, like we talked about. Lots of Ukraine news this morning. If we do that trap look into the RBS and create an inverted head and shoulders, I'm going to be more interested in this, like I talked about. If we fade into the range, I'm not going to be interested. I'm going to be right back, team. Got to deal with this quickly. All right, so even when I'm not here, it does exactly what I'm saying. I'm in this long, selling some into this push. Very simple. Hold of flow zones, hold of anchored VWAP, hold of RBS level. Everything we talked about there. Everyone else thinks they know everything this morning. It's interesting. Stop up in the money, locking in a lovely day here. Thanks for playing. And I'm going to get out of this before lunch and hold runners. And if we're going to go all the way up through PDL, through PDC, coming back test those regions, it's going to be amazing. Fantastic. What a nice shove. Ironclad, normal VWAP, my friend, and then these are anchors, all right? So this one here that you're looking at, that's anchored off the 930 print, and this is anchored off this pivot low. This is where buyers came in and took control. So all the time we were above this, I knew buyers had control off that low, all right? And we were talking about a trade back into this area here, weren't we? All right? Trade back in. If it holds this, I'm thinking bullish upside. If it fails under this, we go back into this range. Right, now we're trading into VWAP. I don't remember if it was you that was saying it earlier, failure of VWAP. This is not a failure of VWAP. We never got in to test it. Now we're coming to test VWAP. Shitting my pants thinking I was going counter trend. No, this is a counter trend move, mate. And I was long, and this is a counter trend. Do you know what? You're here every day, but you're clearly a knob. So, see ya. Good work. Well, while you're talking that, that's what I'm up. So, suck it, mate. What an idiot. What an idiot. There was no shitting of the pants. It was very clearly said, I'm long here, but I'm not full size because we haven't cleared liquidity. And if he's that good a trader, why is he here? Jesus. Easily dealt with. And he won't be able to come back again. Anyway, like we said, team, pretty sure we talked about this move. I was very light for this move, but if we held this, this is confirmation. And I'm going to repeat, this is counter trend, all right? It is a counter trend trade. Why is it a counter trend trade? Let's have a look. On the hourly, what are we doing? We are in a downtrend. 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 This leg here is a counter trend move where we expect sellers to come back in and downtrend. That will change if we reclaim this. Super simple. Honestly, I'm so close to moving this stream to chat members only. I'm really close to doing it already. I don't know how these streamers can deal with such nonsense in chat every day. Yeah, we all know there was big volume down here, big pun, but that doesn't mean anything when it's leaving levels down here. It can still come and trade. Like the biggest volume on the day on a 1 minute bar, right, was here and was here. That doesn't mean it's the low. It really doesn't mean it's the low of the day. It happens to be that this time they got caught down here. I still took this long, right? I still took this long. It was still a trigger. It just wasn't full size for me. And I'd have no problem with him talking about the volume. It was actually someone else that talked about the volume on an M15 bar. There's nothing wrong with talking about the volume, but I'm talking about my trade setup. Everyone's welcome to trade whatever they want. You don't need to be here. You don't need to trade like me. You don't need to learn off me. If you want to trade your way, by all means, go ahead. I didn't jump down anyone's throat, dude. But when you're here and chat is like non-stop, 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 it's quite a lot to deal with. It's no jumping down throat. Like if I'm saying what I'm looking at and it's constant talk the other way, the other way, the other way, the other way, it's quite hard to trade, you know? Jesus, man. Why bother? Anyway, hopefully some of you caught that. I did. I'm done. That was all I needed for the day. And after this, I will go back into the Discord and we will trade together this afternoon, team. There will be some nice setups coming. We've already completed IB to VWAP. All right, happens every single day. We talk about it every day on stream. IB to VWAP has been completed. I didn't think he was out of line until that last comment he made, big pun. Then I thought he was out of line. Thought everything was fine till that. And the first time we had confirmation that bulls had taken control was here. If you want to dip by this, by all means go ahead, right? Because you see some volume on the tape. That's not how I play. Yeah, that's not how I play. I say it every day. If you want to dip by that, sure. And I'd love to see people who say, yeah, I was adding to my winners the whole way. But I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Because people who dip by because they saw a volume node. Oh, there's a big volume. Did we dip by that? Slammed. There's big volume at the start of the session. Friday. Dip by that. Slammed. It doesn't mean anything until it changes structure and proves itself to you. But by all means, like I say, trade your book. If you like playing these, if your job is to dip by this versus that and it paid today, that's fantastic. By all means. I took this here afterwards with tight risk because I didn't like it until we took this out. Camille, not every day. I don't trade it every day. But if I think there's a good setup coming, then yes, I take it. Andrew G, you caught the short earlier and not the long. That's fine, mate. Like, we're not going to get everything every day, right? So if you caught that short, I think we took it together from here and most of the covers were here and then it just dripped lower very, very aggressively. Don't worry. Arguably, you got the better trade of the day. You're not going to get everything every day. Bruce Sands, hello, mate. So you know, you've been nothing but a blessing to me. If you are green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. Forgive the naysayers and welcome all the naysayers. There's nothing, look, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with me. There's nothing wrong with trading your own way. There's nothing wrong with trading your own book. There is something wrong with coming on stream and going that I'm shitting my pants and blah, blah, blah. At no point was I doing that. That's where I have a problem. Like I said, Big Pump, I got no problem with the volume comment. Would you say your tight stop is current ATR or tighter than that? ATR per 1 minute, you mean? Making it happen. I mean, I was probably tighter than that on the run up. I mean, average ATR on the day, I'd say our average on the day is about 34 points. So probably somewhere around that. Somewhere around that. Yeah, I wasn't willing, on this pullback here, I wasn't willing to risk this low because this was 86 for a run to here. So what's that? 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30. That's a 50-point stop. Way too much. I'm not risking 50 points because even if you have your stop there, because that's a daily level, you're going to get filled down here on a market stop out. You'll get slipped on that because it's such a big liquidity pool here. If it came down there, it's slipping it. But on average, yeah, like on a normal day, that would be fine. ATR 20, 30 point stop. As long as you're risking like actual structure, you know, so like if you decided you were buying this, holding the RBS, you can risk underneath, that would probably be fine. Yeah, that would be just under an ATR, right? That would be like a 25-point stop rather than a 36-point stop. So that would be all right. Okay. Got to mentally reset here. It is tiring. Honestly, it is tiring. So 3 for 3 today, team. This plus runners. This small size. I think I got up to, I don't remember, I might have got up to here. And then this inverse. And you can look for this if it reprices. I would be very concerned. Remember, the high probability trade is always from initial balance to VWAP. Right? If this wants to rotate, this is what it needs to protect. Right? If it's unable to protect here where buyers came back in, I wouldn't necessarily take this short. But if it starts getting stuck under here, underneath this anchored VWAP off the low, this one here, if we start getting stuck here, we can rotate down. And whether you think so or not, if it starts rotating down, if buyers become trapped up here and it starts letting go, the rotation down here will look to take out these lows. And it's not because these are lows of day. It's because it's looking to come and take out this daily low. All right, this low here is what it's trying to check. It wanted to check this level. So if it rotates and it catches buyers, it can come down to there. It doesn't have to do it today. It doesn't have to do it at all. It is just a possibility. That's what I would be looking at for later on in the day. If we're going to sustain bids, if we're going to hold these RBS levels and sustain bids, you're looking for a back test of PDC, the yellow line, and PDL. We get through that and we get through previous day point of control, we can come all the way back up to New York Open and IB high. It is possible. Remember, at the highs, all right, we left London Asia high intact. Let me also just show you. London Asia high, Globex high was left intact at the open. All right, so it has the chance to come up here if it really wants to. We also have the anchored VWAP, this red line off Friday's sell. All right, so average price of sellers from Friday all the way up here into 800. That would need to be a serious reprice to do this, but I've seen weirder things. All right, I would still favor a drive up to get short, but we'd have to think about that versus H1. Most the volume in the day, whether you believe it or not, has been created in this area here. Okay, not down here. It's been created in this area here. Your old point of control is here. So it might want to back test in towards this, towards 700, into this imbalance. You can also think about a fib on the day. From here to here, we've repriced 50%. Right, so between 50 and the golden zone, you would expect some sellers to start coming in at some point on the H1, maybe versus this wick, maybe versus this, maybe versus point of control, maybe a 60%, maybe a back test of the channel. And then the question is, do they have the power to come and retest towards the lows? Failure to break the lows will trigger a squeeze back up. That will be a tomorrow play if we do this. Failure to find sellers up here and a drift all the way back into this level here, which is Globex, will also cause a short squeeze, okay? Because that will be the liquidity we need to then get up to backtest some better levels from Friday, which is what we wanted at the open today. I'm going to call it a day there, team. All right, I think I've given enough today. You can clearly see I'm frustrated with chat today. I've made my money. I'm getting out before I get angry and give away any money on stream. So those who care, I will be back here tomorrow morning. Pre-market, we do top-down analysis as we always do. Until then, trade safe. Be nice to each other. Try not to be a bell end. All right, trading's hard enough without egos coming to it. Look after each other. Those in chat, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.